Excellency, the Governor of Rivers State, who is represented here by Madam Deputy Governor, Chairman of Independent Newspapers, Okeremeta Sam, the father of journalism in Nigeria. I would like to plead that you permit me, as they say in Nigeria, to stand by existing protocols. The only plea I will make to the MC is to remove the flower covering the face of the deputy governor. Yeah. Because she represents the governor at this point. She's a governor at this point. So, thank you very much. I would like to join the independent newspapers in applauding the work done by Governor Wike in Rivers State. Certainly is an outstanding figure in a season of anomy in Nigeria. But he's not known because of propaganda. We know him now because of the practical work he's doing in the transformation of that poorly run state before. So I join Independent in congratulating him for helping to salvage the image of Nigeria. Those of us who are in education, we remember something that was close to a miraculous work they did when he was in the Ministry of Education. The regime of Goodluck Jonathan established 12 universities in 1 year in Nigeria. 3 of them were in southern Nigeria, one in Ebonyi, one in Bayelsa, and one in Ekiti State. 9 of those universities were in what you can call northern Nigeria. That work done by that regime is the first of its kind in the continent of Africa. There's no government in this continent that has set up 12 universities in 1 year. Not in Egypt, not in South Africa, not in Senegal. And there are no other viable countries than the ones I have mentioned now. Wike was in the ministry when that miracle was done. So we cherish him for the joining Jonathan to create more space for education. I'm speaking about who is afraid of restructuring Nigeria, looking at the splendor of the guests in this house. I can see now that the topic is rather too heavy for us. We are waiting for dinner. So I wrote it down, I typed it, I produced it on the table there, but I would like to just give highlights of what I have said there. You know, when these invitations come, you are a little more enthusiastic. You think it's a small thing. When you start producing it, you have sleepless nights. Yeah. What I mean by restructuring there is a new slogan in Nigeria which refers to a determination, a wish to rearrange the politics of Nigeria so that each area will have freedom to determine how it wants to rule itself. The second characteristic of that restructuring is that each area, whether it's a state or local government, will also be in charge, will be the owner of the major natural resources in that state. But all the states or councils, whether they are 100 or 200, will jointly, mutually negotiate how much tax or contribution they will all put together to send to run Abuja. When that position is reached, a country that does that, that allows its constituent units to own and preside over the things that nature and God put there, including the things that human beings using science and technology have also established. What do I mean? I mean something like mangrove tree, like rivers, like oil, like gas, like uranium, like gold, like bitumen in Ondo, any of those things that we didn't put there, we came to meet them here. They are called natural resources. But if you are the one that has right of occupation, where those things are found. For example, if you are a kingdom, you were there, then you have many towns. All the resources found both above the ground and under the ground belong to you. But if you belong to a larger community of interest, which you call a country or a nation, then all those who belong to it will contribute a portion of their personal wealth to run. It's like what you call Old Student Association, Alumni Association. When a country is run that way, the country is called a federation. I have been in Nigeria, this is my 70th year now. And everywhere, everything I read, they refer to Nigeria as the Federal Republic of Nigeria. It is scientifically wrong. So what I have written down, Mr. Chairman, Your Excellency, is to try and trace how come that Nigeria is growing older in years, but is becoming weaker and weaker to satisfy the basic needs of its citizens. It looks like a very simple question, but it's not simple. I asked this question and I answered it in that paper. I asked it after having listened to President Donald Trump on the 20th of January. That's the day he was sworn into office. If you watch him, he spoke extempore. He had no paper. There was no soldier police standing behind his back when he was talking. He was talking freely from his heart. If we did it here, there would be a barrack of army behind the president speaking. But what did he say that inspired me in the paper I've written now? That paper I'm referring to is 45 pages. What he said in that statement, say America, 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 is that a nation does not exist until that nation has capacity to provide for the welfare of its own citizens. And since I'm also a geographer, I have extended that definition. A nation is not a map. A nation is institutions, is justice, is equity, is welfare. If people have no water, you have contributed money to that government will come and help you solve that problem. You don't solve it yourself. When there's a body that is doing that work on behalf of all of us, then you say you have a government. I'm not using this epithet to salute Wike earlier if he was not doing things like this. Because I know him. An elephant cannot give birth to a child that is lean or hungry. So rather than go to conclusion by abusing or disagree with the present administration, I try to do some historical research. Why is Nigeria having problem of governance? Because even in this hall here, the people who are in this hall, the level of education, enterprise, industry, experience, administration, if you count them, they are more than the cabinet of small countries like Gabon and so on, even in this hall alone. And I'm sure Nigeria can produce 1 million of this hall here. So How is it that as individuals we are excellent? We go to Harvard, we beat them there. We go to Oxford, we do better than them there. But we carry all that knowledge and we come to Nigeria and the environment in which we practice, we cannot deliver Nigeria. That is the question I posed, Mr. Teddy Were. You caused this trouble for me. Yeah. And I tried to answer it. So I went back and saw that the people who put Nigeria together as a nation did not have the interests of Nigeria at heart. And they did not make a mistake. They did not come here to have our interests at heart. They came here as adventurers. The place was, there were plenty of forests here, mosquitoes. They took a risk. It's a business risk. And they said this country is where they were going to make profit. So they came here in the name, if you use political science to describe it, they came here as capitalists to make profit. That was the primary purpose. The second factor I have found in the history is that the people who did the amalgamation were bandits. Quote me on this, independent. They were bandits of vandals. If you remember, Governor Wike, River State, that whole corridor, from 1850, the British arrested anybody who was opposing them. King Peppo, they call him, but it's Perekule, you know. They arrested him, jailed him in Caribbean. Jumbo, they jailed him. Nana Fishekiri, they caught him. Nana had 5,000 cannons to defend his town. They fought for 3 months before they got him. He was jailed in Ghana. Ovorame, Oba, Ovorame, no Baisi of Benin. That Benin Empire, you see, is the oldest on the continent of Africa. It is 1,000 years old. It is the most respected royal institution on the continent. The British wanted it down. After Nana, as they were counting, Tinubu of Lagos, anywhere they opposed them, the Jebu fought there for 3 years, they smashed them. And they entered Benin on February 17, 1897. They set the city ablaze. They arrested the Oba, handcuffed him, and exiled him to Calabar. He died in exile in 1914. He's the first monarch of the Benin Empire to die away from Benin City. If you don't know history, you will not recognize the significance of these humiliations. 1914 is the year that amalgamation took place. As soon as Benin Empire went down, the British knew nobody will oppose them again. Nigeria was made into a country. There were two Nigerias, ladies and gentlemen. One was called Northern Nigeria, or Northern Protectorate, and one was called Southern Protectorate. The man who led all these assassinations, these massacres, this vandalism, his name is Captain Frederick Lugard. He was Governor General, he stayed in Lagos until 1922 when he retired. I am trying to connect the career of barbarism brought by Lugard to the condition that Nigeria has been going through for years. It's like the blood had been planted long ago and it's difficult. I won't bore you with details, but I know when he went to Sokoto to conquer the Sokoto Caliphate, he killed 3,000 people in 2 days. Then later he was elevated to be Governor General of Nigeria. The British were saluting him, but I don't think any Nigerian who was a victim was saluting him. So that is one of the seeds of the problem of nationhood we have. I took the statistics last night. After Nigeria settled down, the British never killed again. The largest casualty of their police force was 1949. In Enugu, when the coal miners were on strike, they killed 21. After that, they never killed you. They will jail you, but they will not kill you. When Nigeria became independent, that is when government started to kill people. If I give you the figures, you will not enjoy your dinner, so I will stop the figures. So 1914, which we call amalgamation, 102 years ago, it was joined because they wanted to make more profit. It was not because they want to build roads. The second point we need to celebrate or remember about 1914 has to do with Port Harcourt. When they were to join the southern Nigeria and northern Nigeria, the British found that at that time there was no taxation in the north, so there was no money to run the administration. Who will go to pay for the officers who are going to come from UK? There was a crisis. But southern Nigeria, of course, had ports, commerce, business, so there was money here. That was the reason why they joined the two together. It was commercial interest. But there's a romantic side to it, which I want to reveal since we are getting close to Valentine's Day. Lugard was so good in killing people that he was posted to Uganda to do what he had done to the Nupe, to the Gwari, and the Hausa people. When he was in Uganda, he was sent to Hong Kong to go and quell riot there against the British. In 1913, they wanted to join Nigeria, the two Nigerias now. That was when he came back. He wrote a memo. He didn't know how to solve the problem. The British taxpayer said they would not use their money to go and run your colony in tropical Africa. There was a dilemma. The colony, the Secretary of State at that time was called Sir Lewis Vernon Harcourt. He then had a brainwave and wrote that we will join the two together, but one will be a husband and one will be a wife. And he said the husband will be northern Nigeria and the wife will be southern Nigeria. I have the quotation from his letter inside my paper there. That's how the two were joined, January 1914. The two of them were rewarded. Lugard became Governor General straight away. And then Lewis Harcourt was rewarded by naming a new town in eastern Nigeria after him. That town is called Port Harcourt. The man who sold southern Nigeria to slavery is the man they named Port Harcourt after. You go, the next step they took was to divide the country into regions, 3 regions. When they did it, it was not equal enough. There was eastern Nigeria, western Nigeria. The northern Nigeria was bigger than even the two put together. There was trouble. It caused political crisis between Azikiwe, Awolowo, Ahmadu Bello, Aminu Kano. They were all fighting because the British wanted them to fight among themselves. But there was a struggle to federate. They wanted federation. And by 1948-50, all Nigerians were agreed that they want a federal government, not a unitary government. That is the point of interest to us, those who are advocating for restructuring. By 1960, we entered a new country as a federation. There were 3 regions, north, east, and west. The reason why it was pleasurable is that each region, as I said at the beginning, had control over its resources. And if you sold things or they imported groundnut or imported something through Apapa port, the money went to western Nigeria. But that is the time you also saw groundnut pyramid in Kano, because there was competition between west and east and north. Who will produce more? The more you produce, the more derivation you got. For the past 20 years, I have not seen a pyramid, groundnut pyramid, in any part of the north again. Why? Oil money has overtaken it.